Hey, there's a Rocket Brain Surgeon. Today we're looking at the 113 Oni-Chan Rotor Review. Link in the comments. Check it out. It's a Tier 10 heavy tank Chinese, and it follows the typical Chinese formula. It has larger alpha than normal at 440. It's bigger, but it's not too terribly much. It has a strong upper slope on the front. It also has that tough turret and solid mobility. Oh yeah, and that horrible Chinese gun depression. In general, if you want to play around a hill, you want to play on top of it, preferably on the bottom of a hill, but almost never on the sides of a hill. The gun depression simply won't let you get shots off. So instead of taking it to the west areas where there are a lot of hills and he's forced to play almost always on the sides of a hill, or taking it to the middle where he has to crest a hill and that poor gun depression is going to be a problem, he took it into the city where everything is pretty much flat, and he's going to set up a lot of side scrapes. The 113 is pretty good at setting up side scrapes. It has a very decent forward and reverse speed. The turret is mostly tough. There's a problem where you can penetrate the mantlet, not the mantlet, but just to the left and just to the right of it. This is different from a lot of other Chinese tanks who are frontally immune in the turret. The only thing that you can damage on them is through the commander's hatch. But the Tier 10 tank destroyers especially are going to penetrate you through the turret pretty consistently. Also, the upper front plate is based on slope and it's very strong. However, as Oni-Chan points out in his review, the small size of the tank kind of works against you because other tanks are going to be taller and they're going to be firing down on the 113, reducing a lot of the slope and effectiveness of the armor. The lower front plate on the 113 is pretty much non-existent and can be penned by nearly everything, so it's advisable to hide that when you can. The IS-8 opposite him is trying to side scrape as well. That's not the best plan with an IS-8. The armor is just not good enough in the shoulders for him to do that. Taking a look on the minimap, it looks like Town is going to be overwhelmed, so he is moving back, and he's moving back for a couple reasons. One, because they are outnumbered, and two, because he does not want to experience that phenomenon of being shot down on in the front plate. The aim time on the 113 does not do it any favors. The accuracy does not do it any favors. And so you're going to see him take a lot of snapshots. He's a volume shooter, very similar to myself, where he's not going to get aimed in, and if he gets a shot off and it misses, great. If it hits, great. Whatever. Just shoot more. The relocation pays off. He's shooting at the sides of a T-28 Proto and a T-110E5. These are can't-miss shots. I love the idea of a Hedium, a heavy-medium hybrid. It's cool to see things like the IS-2 or the Wheezy 1.4. They have a lot of mobility, they have big alpha, but in exchange they don't have a lot of side armor and they don't have the good gun handling that a lot of other heavies get. The downsides of poor gun handling can be mitigated just by walking up to the enemy and pulling the trigger, using that strong frontal plate and mobility to close the distance and survive at close range, and using that large alpha to gun them down before they can respond. But on the 113, the protection just isn't there. Like I said before, soft turret, the front, which can be not the greatest ever because it's based on angles, and if the angle's even slightly off, everything goes to heck. And the large alpha is 440 alpha rather than 390 alpha on something like the E5. That's just not enough to make a difference. The Wheezy 1.4 works because 500 alpha at Tier 9, that's actually pretty good. And the alpha at Tier 7 for 390 on the IS-2 is amazing. Now a T-62A, you can see he penetrated right through the turret on the left side of the mantlet. Get used to that happening in the 113. That's one of the things that's really annoying. I still like the idea of the 113, however the 121 does everything better. It has better mobility and camouflage because it is a true medium. The front plate might not be as tough, but the turret is definitely tougher because it's more angular. It's just easier to make a derpy gun work on a medium. Very good reaction from Oni-Chan here, hugging the dead tank, setting up kind of a side scrape with both of these enemies closing around him in close range. He got lucky there. The T-57 was apparently on reload after that last shot. Overall, I really wanted to like the 113 because I loved the IS-2, the 110, and the Wheezy 1-4. They're some of my favorite tanks. But the 113 is just overshadowed. Other heavy-medium hybrids do it better. The E50M, the 121, and the T110E5 all give you as much or more than the 113 does. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.